Now, today's topic is a true masculine behavioral technique that I believe every single man on planet Earth needs to adapt. And that would be the element of non-neediness, okay? The reason why I'm making this video today is because I don't think most men truly internalize the fact that women only crave and desire men who fundamentally don't need them. And the reason why men never put two and two together is because they don't actually ask the right questions. They don't ask the right questions as to what would a woman look for in a man? What is masculinity? How do you demonstrate this, and why is it so important? And if you've had failed, past interactions with women where you've been friend zoned, you've been, heartbroken, you've been cheated on, things like that, you're going to want to stay with me through this one because it will drastically change your life. Now, I'm going to be breaking down step by step exactly why women only want a man who fundamentally doesn't need them. Okay, after I'm done with this presentation too, be sure to go down below and check out the free presentation of MBT, masculine behavioral techniques, that I made specifically for you. You're going to get a lot of value from it. It's behind the scenes. It's going to totally transform your life. But nevertheless, here's what you have to understand, okay? Majority of men, when they run into issues with women, is they believe that the women that they're dealing with are malicious or evil or have intent to make them feel bad. And this is a very poor way of looking at it, because the truth is most men are super jaded. And most men are jaded because they've never actually learned and internalized what it means to be an actual man. This is very important. So this carries into your speech, this carries into your vocal tone, this carries into how you handle conflict, everything. So majority of men don't understand how women fundamentally operate on feelings. Okay, so what she feels in this exact moment trumps logic. And the reason why it trumps logic is because this is her feminine intuition. This will all make sense in a second why I explain to them why women only want respect and desire a man who doesn't need them. He can love having them. He can think she's great. He can think she's fun, flirtatious to be around. But the second he needs her, and that attachment is there, she's going to lose a lot of respect for him, and I'm going to explain why. Women genuinely love nice guys, but they despise men who aren't masculine. Let this sink in, okay? Most of you out there watching this channel, you aren't an evil man, okay? Meaning you don't intend on causing any malicious harm or toxicity, okay? But the problem with most men who are nice is they're not nice because they want to be, they're nice because they have to be. They're nice by default because this is who they are, because deep down they're weak. When I say weakness, this stems not just about your muscles. This talks about how you set boundaries and expectations within relationships, how you handle people, how you handle anyone, man or woman, if they disrespect you. All of these things are important. So most women date or sleep with assholes because today assholes are the only ones who are masculine. Okay? Now, what's funny is that as cookie cutter soft as today's society is, just you having an expectation in the first place is going to make you an asshole compared to most men. However, you can't listen to the mainstream narrative because that's when you're going to be led astray. Now, the reason why women despise nice guys on all levels is because they have no purpose, they have no focus, and they have no boundaries. If you have no God-given purpose, you have nothing to focus on through the day. Okay, so you're going through mundane tasks. And when I say mundane tasks, it's like you don't have a mission. And this is very poor because it's like you probably wake up and no, I'm not coming down on you if this is you, but for guys who work their 9 to 5 and they hate what they do, okay, you got to look at it this way. If you're on this planet, for 24 hours per day, for X amount of years as you're living, if you sleep 8 hours per day, and then you're working 8 hours a day, and you're commuting, let's say an hour total, okay, that eats up 19, 20 hours right there. Do you understand that by the time you actually brush your teeth, take a shower, all of those other tasks, you're only looking at 3, 4, 5, 6 hours per day of your own free time, which means the time you spend working and your career and what you go into and your purpose and your direction in life is so drastically important, especially for a man. If you have no purpose, you have nothing to focus on. And when a man has no focus, he has no intent. He doesn't live life with intent. So when that happens, it's impossible to have backbone because you have nothing that you're living for. So women aren't evil, women aren't naturally malicious, you just have to know and understand what they respond to. So now when we get into the meat and beans of the topic of why women want men who do not need them, let's break this down category by category, okay? If you need her, okay, I don't care if this is the prettiest woman in the world, I don't care if she's a Victoria's Secret model, Brazilian swimsuit model, whatever the case may be. The second you need, let's refine this for a second before I continue on this tangent. I am not saying you cannot like a woman. I'm not saying that you can't enjoy a woman's company. I'm not saying you can't have intimate experiences with a woman. And I'm also definitely not saying that you can't want and or desire a real meaningful relationship with a woman. All of those things are great. However, let's look at this word, need. The second you need anybody is the second you're in for a rude awakening. If you need anybody, it means you have lost the stoic traits of being centered and being alone. So a man who has deep-rooted stoicism, meaning the ability to endure emotional hardship and pain without showing it, okay? This is the fundamental backbone of what it means to be a masculine man. Not game, not pickup, not how good your texting lines and texting scripts are. Okay, all of that stuff is fun too, and there's a time and place for it, but you gotta understand this. At the end of the day, when your head hits the pillow at night, you have to be on your own grind. You have to be on your own shit. You have to know what you're doing in life. Why do you think I've been able to make videos on this channel for so many years? It's because I have a real direction that I'm trying to take this. I have a real direction for how I'd prefer men to think, because the beliefs that have served me have helped me tenfold. So I really believe the beliefs that have served me can help you too. This is how I wake up and do what I do every single day as well. So if you have lost your stoic traits, you've lost emotional control. I'll give you an example. Emotional control comes out, especially when men are dating or they're seeing a woman that they really like. When you watch the guy who, let's say, he's going through something with his girlfriend and he texts 100 million paragraphs, bam, 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 right? He's investing all of this wasted energy, okay, into time and emotionally driven feelings. And truthfully, that is her job, to be that one who's centered in feelings. Your job is to be centered in rational fact. So for every minute that you spend in this emotionalism, you have actually lost a minute off your life that you could have been being productive or being on your purpose or doing something that's actually meaningful. So what this stems into, the reason why it's so poor if you need her, is because at the end of the day, you just have too much free time. You have too many things, you have too little things going on to where anything with a woman that goes south occupies so much of your free time that you don't know what to do with yourself. Once again, let's look at this. This is the issue nice guys have. No purpose, no focus, and no backbone. If you have nothing going on, and this could be work related, this could be social circle related, this could be purpose related, this could be a skill or a hobby you're trying to pick up. Like there's certain things you have to want to do. Like every single day, no matter what, come hell or high water, like I'm in the gym. Every single day, no matter what, like I'm making content for you guys or I'm doing specific things. Every single week, I always make it a point to see my male friends that I've had for 10, 20 years. At least I go to dinner probably 2 to 3 times per week, every single week. Like these are just staples as to how I live my life. So if you have so much free time that you can sit around and you are so in the headspace where you need a girl, this is fundamentally unattractive. So these men who operate like this is they think women will fill your cup. Okay, they think women will fill your void, and it won't. What I'm explaining to you is that a man needs backbone and principle first. If you don't have the backbone and principle, it doesn't matter how many women you would give a guy, he would consistently make himself emasculated in due time. Only your God-given purpose, okay, is the one thing that can fill your cup. If you're a man and you fundamentally believe in masculinity, I believe it's fundamentally impossible to believe in masculinity, the masculine essence of stoicism and emotional resiliency and being able to endure hardship and suffering without the element of God. It is impossible. That is the fundamental root of what it means to be a man. So when you encompass all of this and you understand that men, like, and this is me telling you too, I'm not perfect by any means as well. Every single man who has went through anything in life or has learned any of these traits has probably went through hardship. You're here on this channel because at some point you went through hardship. So this is how a centered man lives. If you're like, you understand this, you're like, okay, Casey, I understand like I can't need a girl. I understand that women only respond to men who fundamentally don't need them. Okay, now what's the next idea? The next idea is this. You have to understand how a centered man lives his life. What is a centered man? A centered man is you're centered, comfortable, confident, congruent in your own domain. For me, my domain is my own home, okay? My domain is the space here on YouTube to help you guys. My domain is my business, Headman, okay? My domain is the content that I produce and the topics that I talk about. This is who I am and who I became. You are not me. You are going to have to find your domain, okay? But a centered man has a domain. Domain is in he rules over that element or that kingdom, that area of his life. So when you are a centered man, you got to understand right here, you're principled. When I say you're principled, that means you have an exact outlook on life. You believe things should be a certain way, and it's your like almost your duty to manifest it in that direction. You can manifest it in that direction because you actually believe that you can and you have the power to control that element of your life. You're principled. And that means there's things you don't bend or you don't break on. Once again, nice guys, since they have no backbone, they will bend and break their principles oftentimes to suit a woman. This is why a woman will oftentimes test you to see if you will fold, right, to her request. And these are things that men oftentimes don't see. So when you have a principled outlook on life, this is when you're going to step into your own masculinity. Brings me to point number 2. You have to have expectations. Not only expectations for a woman in the relationship that you're in, but expectations as a man for yourself. A high-value man in all ways, shapes, and forms, okay, expects a type of behavior out of a woman and out of himself. Like, it is impossible to have a good relationship with any woman on planet Earth if you don't have an expectation, okay, of what that woman has to bring to the table. Because you have to remember this too. If you are on your grind, you probably are getting ahead in life. And if you're getting ahead in life and you're taking care of yourself, you're encompassing the roots of what it means to be a fundamentally attractive man, meaning you're working on your body, your business, your purpose. Okay, you understand how to have backbone. You're a strong man who could stand up to danger or hardship. These are attractive things to a woman, especially in the short term when she sees you, you look like a stud and you sound like a stud, but in the long term, you have the elements too that is going to be very attractive to a woman. This is key. If you bring those things to the table in every way, shape, and form, if you don't have an expectation that you have for a woman, it's going to come off as weird. So this is very key. When a man has an expectation, okay, of how he addresses his things in his life and how he carries himself, and he has an expectation for the woman who's in his life, women think that this is hot. Women like when a man can be direct and set the principle in his own life. So there's time and place for all of this. The third thing that you have to understand about a masculine man is there's no need for external validation. When I say no need for external validation, whether somebody likes you or not, you feel and you deep down believe is irrelevant. And the reason why it's irrelevant is because the strongest element that a man can really possess is the need to not be liked, or to remove the ability to needing to be liked. If you do not possess that trait where you're like, I have to be liked, I have to have people's approval, that's the strongest element that you can look for. So a masculine man has no need for external validation. Therefore, a high-value man is okay with being alone. This is the part that you have to understand. And this took me, when I tell you guys, I made every mistake in the book too. In my early 20s, I did not commit to any girl, ever. I had a rotation in my early 20s at all times. And this turned out to be a massive weakness. Why was it a weakness? Because I couldn't be alone. I would have to fill my time with friends, or I would fill my time with going out, right? Or I would fill my time with sleeping with a new girl. And it's like this constant chase was very addicting. And here's where it gets addicting too. I'm gonna have some sympathy and some empathy for all of you who have been here. This gets so addicting when you can, and most guys can't. Okay, just stick with me for a second. When you know how to wheel a woman, you got wheels, you can go out and you're women look you's attractive, right? You can make things happen. When you get in that, you will naturally adapt an egotistical bravado about you. I remember there was a time in my early 20s where I had so many wins in a row. I just sniping, right? Bam, 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 bam. You feel like the shit, right? You feel like you're indestructible. But then a couple years go by, right? I'm 23, 24, and I'm sitting there, I'm holy shit, from ages 19 to now, the past 4 or 5 years of my life, I have not been focused on my purpose and stuff. And I still had a business and I still had things going on. I've always done well in my career and financially, but my mind was in the wrong spot. And see, that's where these things can become a massive weakness and a hamstrung, even though they're pleasurable. Now, what do we know about anything that is pleasurable? Anything that's pleasurable will lead to an equal and opposite reaction, which is pain. If you're constantly addicted to sex and lust, what's going to happen is that's going to end up bringing back a void. If you're constantly addicted to alcohol and going out, you might feel good in the moment, but you're going to wake up with that hangover. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So a high-value man, a centered man, is okay with being alone. And this is fundamentally why women, like men, love men, crave men who don't need them. You have to carry this element with you, even if you've been married for 20 years. If you've been married for 20 years and you're so attached where you will take any behavior, you'll go with the flow with anything, you will allow anything to happen, and you're like, you know what? I won't leave and I don't even care if I'm disrespected because it doesn't matter because I love that woman. This is the one-way ticket to her exiting. You have to have principle and you have to have boundaries and you have to be able to explain that. And here's the thing too. You might explain those things and you know what? Your woman still wants to walk and she believes there's better options out there. If she believes that, good, let her. If she believes you are not a fit for her, let that happen. They aren't evil. You cannot fight their nature. All you can control is if you're a centered man within your own life. And this is why, as a man, you have to continue to create. Continue to create and to produce. Just like I've continued to create and produce this content. A man is a builder. When you take action, you create things in your life. That is when you truly step into your own masculine essence. So, I didn't mean this video to sound wordy. This is deep. This is how you live. Most guys, if you're out there smoking every single night and you're out drinking every single night, you probably don't even have a high enough level of competency yet to even start to internalize these things. Start to remove the negative, low value behavior. Only then can you bring in the positive things to your life. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.